Now you just sit there, both ears wide open now. Well, Uncle Remus is fixing to finish this here tale he begun last time. So you just sit there and do the listening. Well, sir, there they was, way down in Florida, at a place called What's the Attraction. Brer Rabbit was making a delivery to two boys, SurferClock and TAP-G. He was planning on having those two watch the old Song of the South movie so they could do a review of the powerful witch Splash Mountain. But Brer Fox done caught up with the Brer Rabbit and make ready for to settle Brer Rabbit's hash right then and there. And old Brer Bear, he don't say nothing. And the boys, they being held down.
Yes, sir. In a minute now, Brer Rabbit gonna stay for lunch, yes, sir. He gonna make a mighty tasty lunch. Yes, sir, Handy Brer Bear.
Lunch.
Brer Fox, let Brer Rabbit go. You don't want him now.
Later, sure, but not right now.
TAP-G.
What? It's not like Brer Fox is ever gonna catch him long enough to make him into a rabbit stew. Oh, ain't it, huh? 'Cause I got me Brer Rabbit, and he ain't going nowhere. No, sir. Then I guess the Splash Mountain / Song of the South review is gonna have to be cut short then, huh?
Yeah, we need you guys here so we can get the word out about the movie.
Y'all gonna tell folks about the movie? Y'all gonna need to see it, ain't you? Yes, sir, I sure am glad I thought of that.
I thought we was gonna,
Why, Brer Bear, you ain't just gonna stand there holding on to them, is you? They got a show to do. Now get on with it now.
but you said, okay.
Now go on, start reviewing.
Where the heck do we leave off?
I remember. Once you slide down Slip and Falls, the story begins. Brer Rabbit's boarded up his door in search of his laughing place, while Brer Fox and Brer Bear plot his untimely demise. It should be noted that Splash Mountain melds the 3 animated segments of Song of the South into one coherent storyline. Additionally, none of the live-action characters, like Uncle Remus, Johnny, Ginny, Miss Sally, the Favors Brothers, and Tempe, they're not part of the ride. Splash Mountain is Brer Rabbit's story.
You're really watching 2 stories here. One is Brer Rabbit outfoxing his pursuers, the other is Brer Rabbit's quest for the laughing place, and the reactions of his neighbors. And speaking of actors, since Song of the South was made over 40 years prior, only one of the actors was able to reprise his role, Nicodemus Stewart as Brer Bear.
Yep,
And did you know Jess Harnell voices Brer Rabbit?
Who's Jess Harnell?
This guy.
Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Indiana.
That's right, Wacko Warner from Animaniacs. Cool, huh?
After numerous failed attempts to catch Brer Rabbit, Brer Fox pulls out the holy hand grenade of Antioch and...
What?
Kidding.
Dude, that is dark.
Brer Rabbit leads you to the Laughing Place, a cavern of splashing water, beehives, and all the frogs, turtles, and gophers having a good time. But an unsuspecting Brer Rabbit gets caught in a beehive thanks to Brer Fox. Now that the tension kicks in, 2 corner vultures chuckle at Brer Rabbit's dismal demise as your log inches up the incline to Splash Mountain's notorious Big Hill. At the summit, you roll through Brer Fox's lair while Brer Rabbit begs not to be thrown into the briar patch.
And here's the moment of truth. It's a 52-foot drop at a 45-degree angle. And whatever Gabriel Iglesias says, flashing the camera is not cool. Don't do it just because some fat comedian says it's cool.
For the record, I'm not fat, I'm fluffy.
Whatever.
Up till now, you've heard How Do You Do and Everybody Has a Laughing Place. The Oscar-winning tune Zip-a-Dee-Doo-Dah doesn't get heard until the show's final showboat scene, where Brer Rabbit returns home and all of his jubilant neighbors carry on in song. As Uncle Remus says, you can't run away from trouble. There ain't no place that far.
Yeah. You get your picture, get a t-shirt, and on the way out. But ain't you gonna start reviewing and talk about it? You don't start opinionating now?
Fine. Well, here's what I think.
Do tell.
This is actually, this might surprise a lot of people. Because I do have a bit of an aversion to water rides, I typically don't go on it. However, for the purposes of review, of course I did.
Yes.
Now, it's got great visuals. It's paced very well. The log seems to go at just the right speed to get you into all the story elements.
Quick enough to be exciting, but slow enough to see everything.
Yep. The drops all throughout are very nice. They're very well done. And it's just paced perfectly. The story seamlessly blends all three of the tales that are told in Song of the South together. Mm-hmm. I mean, it does use some of the drops to, transition into different story scenes. That being said, it's really hard for me to find any flaws.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of, and it's really nitpicky for me to say this, but it's questionable the kind of relevance that this still holds with audiences today.
What do you mean?
Let's take Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, for example.
Okay.
And I know it's not a great example to use, but this is a relatively obscure Disney film turned to a ride, but unlike Splash Mountain, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride is no longer with us.
Well, here's what I think of as to why Mr. Toad's Wild Ride no longer exists, whereas Splash Mountain does.
Okay.
One of them is that Splash Mountain is the main wet attraction in the Magic Kingdom.
Very much true.
When you're in Florida, you need at least one attraction that gets people soggy so you can cool down, like Kali River Rapids, or even, to a lesser extent, like Catastrophe Canyon at the Studio Backlot Tour.
And Maelstrom.
And Maelstrom, yeah. You need something that cools people down in the Florida sun. The other thing is that there aren't that many thrilling rides at Walt Disney World. That's Universal's job.
Yeah.
So having this ride has a thrill, so of course it's going to attract people.
Okay.
Another thing is the characters. They're marketable.
Well, yeah, that's definitely... I've seen all kinds of Splash Mountain t-shirts.
The main thing about why people say that Mr. Toad got replaced by Winnie the Pooh is that Disney can sell far more Winnie the Pooh merchandise than they can do Mr. Toad merchandise. And there's no exception here with Splash Mountain. Who doesn't want a cuddly little rabbit or a fox or bear to be your protagonist?
Sure.
The setting. Even if you could strip everything away thematically, what would you put for Splash Mountain? Right there in Frontierland.
There's nothing that really fits.
But the setting itself really does. And I think another thing, this is going to sound kind of weird, but I equate Brer Rabbit to Figment.
To Figment?
To Figment at Journey into Imagination.
You're going to have to explain that one.
Okay. When you think of Figment, what do you think of?
Well, I think of Epcot and Journey into Imagination with Figment.
When you think Brer Rabbit, what do you think of?
Splash Mountain. Oh!
Exactly. He's because the movie is so less known, he's become an iconic character to represent one of the great rides of Walt Disney World.
Okay.
And what had happened with Figment? They tried to take him away, fans rebelled, so they brought him back. If Disney took away Splash Mountain, there's going to be a major upheaval on their hands.
Definitely.
So that's my response to that.
Another thing too is I think that Splash Mountain serves as sort of a visual lure, but a more family friendly one.
Oh, what did Walt call it? It was a weenie.
Weenie, yes. It's a more family friendly weenie than say Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, which is a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Now Splash Mountain is a log flume ride, and that weenie does bring about a very fast fall, but it's a relatively calm ride and it looks family friendly.
Yeah.
With that kind of out of the way. I definitely think this ride is here to stay, and despite my aversion to water rides, I honestly can't find anything wrong with Splash Mountain. Mm-hmm. It's perfectly paced, has a great story, and very endearing characters and music to tell the story. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a 5 out of 5. TAP-G?
Bravo, my good man. Now, first, I think, as you told the fans on the blog, that I'm a big, big fan of the movie Song of the South.
Don't I know it?
So, here's my point of view on the matter. I like looking at Splash Mountain as an adaptation of the Uncle Remus stories and Song of the South.
Okay.
Like we mentioned before, it mixes the 3 stories from Song of the South, Running Away, The Tar Baby, and that's the name of the story, and The Laughing Place, melds them perfectly together into one coherent storyline. It works beautifully. The music is great. I like how they include How Do You Do and Everybody Has a Laughing Place in addition to Zip-a-Dee-Doo-Dah. It doesn't overplay its hand by just constantly playing Zip-a-Dee-Doo-Dah, even though it's the one we all know. It's become Disney's one great anthem. Great use of supporting cast. We already mentioned how the America Sings cast was recast into Splash Mountain at Disneyland, and it holds up here as well. The Corner Vultures, Brer Gator, Brer Goose, Brer Roadrunner, the Porcupine, the Raccoon, all these characters, they're not in the movie.
Yeah.
But Brer Rabbit does have some neighbors, but they make like cameo appearances at best. And they serve to tell the story, and it actually makes it feel like a more full neighborhood. I love that.
Okay.
And it keeps the characters' integrities in check. It's how an adaptation is done right, and I love it for it.
Okay.
Okay, now that that's out of the way, the ride itself, don't go on this all the time. If it's a cold day or if the line's too long, I usually avoid it. But when I can, I will. I like the brief moments of thrill, whether it's the quick little waterfalls into the laughing place that are so dark, the big drop, the other two smaller drops, even the coast right in front of the big drop. All that adds to this great build-up, because that's all this ride is. Yeah, there's plenty of moments that catch your eye with the characters, but it builds and it builds and it builds to the big drop, and that is wonderful pacing. I love it. The characters, they're funny, they're engaging, they tell a great story. I'm still waiting for the day that these guys have their own TV show.
That'd be interesting.
That would be. I would think that'd be amazing. The atmosphere is beautiful. The lighting works well. Even the effects are relatively decent. I know it's gotten a reputation in the past few years for constantly breaking down, but it's getting better. And
last time we went on it, it worked just fine.
Yeah. And I'm really glad that this attraction is around, and it preserves the legacy of a movie that would otherwise be just a forgotten piece of Disneyana. And ultimately, I want to cap this off by saying, why doesn't Disney just sell park-only copies of Song of the South at their gift shop? I mean, they could do this as like another one of their limited-time magic deals. Just sell the copy for a week and just see how it sells.
Wow. If you think the Villains thing would have sold out fast...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this would be...
They would sell a couple thousand copies in an hour. This thing would sell out like crazy, and it'd be the perfect window of opportunity for Disney to get on and bring this out to the public without causing an uproar.
And to test the waters.
Absolutely. And just like SurferClock, I can't find a flaw with this ride. I'm not an enormous fan, but I love Song of the South that much, and I have to give this a perfect score of 5 out of 5.
So that's a 5 out of 5 from SurferClock and a 5 out of 5 from TAP-G.
Like all Disney rides, Splash Mountain requires riders to be at least 7 years old to go alone or be supervised by someone who's at least 14 years old. Also, the minimum height requirement is 40 inches or 102 centimeters.
Because of the ride's multiple drops, not just the infamous 5-story plunge, patrons are required to be in good physical condition overall and must be free from heart, back, or neck problems. Pregnant mothers are discouraged from riding. Those in wheelchairs and scooters will be required to transfer into the logs.
And if y'all can do that, come on board. We'll be waiting for you in Frontierland.
Yeah. Is y'all done yet? Y'all done chatting the day away?
Not quite yet. There's still the recommendations.
Regardless of the height requirement, Splash Mountain is a must-see at the Magic Kingdom. It has a great story, told with fantastic characters, cool music, and that renowned plunge is enough to thrill you and spill on you. Remember, you've almost guaranteed to get wet, anything between a spritz to drenched.
Kids love the antics of the characters and the catchy songs, but adults love the drop. It's a winner, folks, one of Magic Kingdom's best, and for good reason. Just be sure to get a fast pass on those sweltering summer days. As the park's main wet attraction, its line can get ridiculously long.
And for more information about Song of the South and what y'all can do to give it its first release here in the United States of Georgia, check out this here website, songofthesouth.net.
And here come the internet trolls accusing us of selling out.
You know, I heard a rumor in one of the Laughing Place caves that there's this gopher who pops out of the ceiling and shouts, FSU! Local legend has it that an FSU graduate worked on that scene.
Nah, that's just Brad Gopher. He graduated in 1991 and is still handing out Seminole bumper stickers. Like he's the only critter ever gone to college.
Well, that just about does it for us here at What's the Attraction. Until next time, I'm SurferClock.
And I'm an advocate for underappreciated maligned classic cinema from Disney.
And I'm Red Fox, yes sir. And I'm gonna knock his head clean off.
And that's my execute. So long, fellas.
What the? Dang, nabbit! You're not gonna get away from me, Brer Rabbit! Get your fluffy cotton there back here, boy, you big old critter!
Can Brer Frog give me my own DVD of Song of the South too, Brer Rabbit?
And we're What's the Attraction?
Where our work is your vacation. Hey, wait a minute! Who's gonna fix the door?